General Hospital spoilers. Laura arrested. Sonny suffers a stroke. Emma meets the killer. Must see. Port Charles is spiraling into chaos, and the ripple effects will shatter lives in ways no one could have predicted. As a chilling mystery takes center stage, shocking arrests, medical emergencies, and terrifying face-to-face encounters will leave fans breathless. From Laura's dramatic fall from grace to Sonny's near-fatal collapse and Emma's jaw-dropping brush with death, GH's latest storyline is a storm of twists, betrayals, and secrets exploding into the open. The calm before the storm, Port Charles celebrates too soon. It begins with a celebration. After months of tension and rebuilding efforts in the wake of recent mob violence, Laura Collins organizes a Port Charles Unity Gala at the Metro Court. The mayor's goal is to bring healing and peace to a shaken city. Dignitaries, families, and even long-estranged enemies show up in their finest attire. Amid glittering lights and polished speeches, no one sees the darkness lurking in the corners of the room. Emma Scorpio Drake, home from Paris for the summer, surprises everyone with her radiant return. She's older, wiser, and hiding something behind those gentle brown eyes. Anna immediately senses her daughter is haunted by something she's not ready to reveal. Laura's fall from grace, handcuffed in front of the world. The gala is still in full swing when the unthinkable happens. Commissioner Jordan Ashford arrives at the Metro Court flanked by federal agents. She makes a beeline for Laura Collins, and the hush that falls over the ballroom is chilling. Jordan's voice quivers as she reads the charges: conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and aiding and abetting a fugitive. The fugitive in question? Victor Cassadine. Yes, Victor. It turns out Victor wasn't incinerated on the haunted star, as previously thought. A recovered encrypted file, found on an Interpol agent's destroyed laptop, reveals that Victor faked his death and was smuggled out of Port Charles with the help of someone very close to him. That someone, investigators allege, is Laura Collins. Laura maintains her innocence, but new evidence points to several encrypted financial transactions linked to offshore accounts under aliases she once used during her time undercover in Europe. Nicholas, infuriated and desperate to protect the family name, pleads with Laura to tell the truth, but she's eerily calm, saying only, "Sometimes, silence is the only protection we have." Behind closed doors, Martin Gray vows to defend his sister no matter the cost, but he knows they're up against a formidable opponent. The DOJ's special prosecutor, Harper Strand, is a relentless truth seeker, and she's made Laura her personal mission. While the town reels from Laura's arrest, Sonny Corinthos is privately unraveling. He's been hiding symptoms for weeks: dizziness, blurred vision, headaches. But Sonny is nothing if not stubborn. He refuses to see a doctor, brushing off Nina, Carly, and even Ava when they express concern. It all comes to a terrifying head just hours after Laura's arrest. Sonny, pacing his living room and on the phone with Brick about a missing shipment, suddenly slurs his words and collapses mid-sentence. Dex, arriving late for a meeting, finds him on the floor, unconscious. Rushed to GH, Sonny is diagnosed with a massive ischemic stroke. The doctors work frantically to break the clot and minimize long-term damage. Christina, Dante, and Michael arrive in shock. The Corinthos family, already fractured by recent tensions, is thrown into further turmoil. Nina blames Carly for stressing Sonny out. Carly, having just learned about Sonny's increasing paranoia and skipped medications, blames herself. But Sonny's condition is worse than they realize. When he regains consciousness, he struggles to speak and has partial paralysis on his left side. He's furious at his vulnerability and refuses physical therapy at first, until Donna visits, softly telling him, "You're my superhero, Daddy. You have to fight." Emma's secret and the return of the killer. Meanwhile, Emma's return to Port Charles is more than a homecoming. It's part of a mission. Months earlier, while attending school in Paris, Emma began investigating a string of suspicious deaths at her university. Her natural instincts and detective heritage led her to uncover a horrifying connection. Each victim had ties to a mysterious professor of neuroscience, Dr. Marcus Vance. Vance is charismatic, brilliant, and ruthless. Emma uncovered that he had been experimenting with a controversial brain mapping technique, and the students who died had been unwilling subjects. When Emma confronted him, Vance warned her, "One day, you'll see the world my way." She fled to Port Charles with a hard drive full of evidence, planning to give it to Anna. But before she can, someone else follows her. The killer comes to Port Charles, and Emma comes face to face. The man calling himself Dr. Marcus Vance arrives in Port Charles under a new identity, Dr. Nolan Barrett. He's charming his way into GH under the guise of offering revolutionary neurology treatments for stroke victims, specifically Sonny Corinthos. Yes, Vance is Sonny's new doctor. Emma realizes the horror of the situation too late. When she tries to tell Anna, she finds that the hard drive she hid has been stolen. Frantic and panicked, she tracks down Vance in his newly leased office above Charles Street Market. What follows is one of GH's most chilling scenes in years. Emma enters the office, clutching a letter opener from the hallway. She demands he admit who he is. He smiles, calm as ever, and replies, "You always were your mother's daughter. Brave, foolish, and far too curious." Vance locks the door behind them, but Emma doesn't back down. She records the confrontation on her phone as she accuses him of murder. "You think no one will believe you?" he taunts. "I'm a healer. You're just a scared little girl." In a tense moment, Emma manages to escape by stabbing Vance's hand and running out into the street, where Dante and Chase happen to be investigating a nearby break-in. They arrest Vance on the spot, and Emma collapses into Anna's arms, shaking but alive. With Vance's arrest, a horrifying truth unfolds. Not only was he killing students in Paris, but he'd been lured to Port Charles by Victor Cassadine himself. Victor had been funding Vance's brain experiments in exchange for technology that could control memory and behavior, a twisted continuation of the original Chimera project. Vance was meant to complete his research on Sonny. Meanwhile, Laura remains in custody. Despite the revelation that Victor funded Vance, the federal case against Laura doesn't vanish. In fact, prosecutors argue that Laura's connection to Victor and her silence allowed Vance to enter the country under false pretenses. With mounting pressure, Martin secures a temporary release for Laura pending trial, but she must wear an ankle monitor and resign as mayor. Nina, guilt-ridden and broken by Sonny's fragile condition, starts to spiral. She tries to make peace with Carly, and the two women share a quiet moment by Sonny's hospital bed. "He may not survive this war," Carly says softly. "But if we tear each other apart, he'll never forgive us." Christina, meanwhile, begins to take a larger role in the family business, shocking everyone when she orders Dex to keep certain associates in line, no matter the cost. The once idealistic daughter may be stepping into her father's shoes. In the wake of her trauma, Emma begins to withdraw. She can't sleep. She jumps at every sound. But Anna is there for the first time in a long time, as a mother, not just a spy. In a heartfelt scene, Emma confesses that she blames herself for Vance's actions, that she should have gone to WSB earlier. Anna, fighting tears, tells her, "You were brave enough to face evil when others turned away. That's not failure. That's heroism." Emma finally breaks down, allowing her mother to hold her. Patrick, contacted by Anna, arrives from California to support his daughter. The reunion is bittersweet, filled with love, guilt, and determination to help Emma heal. As the dust settles, Port Charles is forever changed. Laura, once the moral compass of the town, is facing the fight of her life in court. Sonny, now physically diminished, must confront whether he can still lead, or if it's time to pass the torch. Emma, a brave young woman who looked death in the eyes, may finally step into her own legacy as a Scorpio Drake. Anna finds herself torn between justice and vengeance, as the Vance investigation leads to more revelations in Europe. Christina begins her descent into a world her father always tried to shield her from. And finally, Victor Cassadine's shadow still looms large. Vance may be in custody, but whispers in the corridors of WSB suggest that Victor is alive and watching. Always watching. Monday, Sonny suffers a devastating setback during rehab. Tuesday, Emma discovers another chilling file on Vance's laptop, with names of other targets. Wednesday, Laura is confronted in court by someone from her past who claims she helped Victor escape. Thursday, Carly makes a decision that will shock Michael and Willow. Friday, Christina delivers an ultimatum that could ignite a mob war. Port Charles is on fire, politically, emotionally, and literally, and nothing will ever be the same. Don't miss a single moment of this heart-stopping saga.